Hello fellow YouTubers, it's me Tomversal here, and today we're going to be doing another tier list video. I asked a poll on my Instagram a few weeks ago, and I asked what people want to see for my next video, and it seemed that a Legend of Zelda tier list won the poll, so that's what we're going to be doing. Zelda, it's a game series that means a lot to me, one of my favourite game series of all time, and yeah, it probably is my favourite game series of all time, actually. And yeah, genius games. Without further ado, let's just get into it. So, Legend of Zelda, the first game in the series. Now, this game is for the Nintendo Entertainment System. I don't own one of those, but I have played this game because I have a NES Mini. It's readily available, this game. And it's quite a... I mean, for the time... truly groundbreaking, just as groundbreaking as the first Mario game, in my opinion. But I don't think it holds up as well as the first Mario game. That game you can just pop in, you can play, it's really fun to this day. This game has some drawbacks, it's kind of cryptic in a lot of areas. The music, even though the music that's in the game, like the tracks themselves, are masterpieces, there's only like a couple of tracks, and it gets kind of repetitive listening to that for the length that you'll be playing this game. Yeah, I've never beat it. I'm currently on the road to beating it, and the first Zelda game, where would I put it? I'm gonna put it in C tier for now. We'll reevaluate the list at the end of the video, but for now I'm gonna put it in C tier because it's definitely not a bad game. As you notice, there's no F tier or E tier. They're all good games in my opinion. Legend of Zelda 2, or it's just called Zelda 2, but Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. This game expands upon the first game. There's, well, in some ways there's a bigger sense of exploration, and in other ways there isn't. Because the map is so ugly that you just don't want to explore it. And there's towns now, there's the side-scrolling sections which make the game feel more expanded than the first game. All this positive stuff, the music is great, I might even prefer it to the first one, but the game itself is just so unfun. It's definitely a D tier. It's just not fun. Every time I play it, I just want to turn it off. I never have fun playing this game. It's not a bad game. It's not a bad game at all if you can get into it. I just personally can't. It suffers from a lot of the dated things that the NES had, like where it's just complicated, it's really difficult, but not in a fair way. The first game, it is difficult, it is cryptic, but it still feels like a true Zelda game. It's proper, you can have a blast playing it. I'd never feel that with The Adventure of Link. I just don't like playing that game. Next up, we have what would be Zelda 3, I guess. I'm not going to do that for all of them, but A Link to the Past, the third game in the original trilogy. The first one on the Super Nintendo, well, the only one on the Super Nintendo, but these first two are on the NES, and this one's a next-gen system at the time. A Link to the Past, updated the graphics, updated the music, updated the characters, the story, the things that you can do. I'm going to put this game in A tier for now. I know a lot of people, this might be their favourite Zelda game, and if this was your favourite Zelda game, I could totally see why. It did what the first game did, but miles better. It took some of the stuff from Zelda 2 as well, like the towns and the characters and things that you can meet, but it's so much better. This game's top down like the first game. It's just so fun. It's a game I haven't played enough of, that's why I'm struggling to discuss it, but I know it's a fantastic game, deserving of S tier to be honest, but for me it's not S tier, at least not a minute. Yeah, whatever I say at the minute, just remember, I know I've said this for all of them so far, but remember, at the end I will be reevaluating to see where I will truly put them, but for now, this is A tier for me. It could be S tier if I beat it, if I got truly into the game and beat it. I wouldn't be shocked putting it in S tier. A lot of people love this game. I love this game to bits. It's an amazing game. Link's Awakening for the Nintendo Game Boy, which got a Switch port. I've beat the Switch port. My friend let me borrow it, and I had such a good time playing this game. I've recently rebought it, I guess bought it for the first time on the Game Boy, not the Game Boy, on the 3DS. So I now own it. I now own this Game Boy version on the 3DS, and I haven't played much of it on that version yet, but everything so far seems the exact same other than the music and, of course, the graphics. The music's the same, but they remade it all on the remake. And I know I've only beat the Switch version, and I've barely played the Game Boy version, but the game as a whole is S tier. I know that might seem like sacrilegious, putting Link to the Past in A tier and Link's Awakening in S tier. I don't know what people think of this game as a whole, but I personally absolutely loved this game. I did. Maybe it's because I beat it. I didn't beat Link to the Past, but I just had so much fun playing this game. The music in the game really stuck with me. The story. It's the first one. I think it's the first one to not actually feature Zelda, and instead just goes on a completely different route to the other games. I found it really interesting. I found the world really interesting. The dungeons, they're really good puzzles. I mean, I know I've played it on the Switch, but they're the same on the Game Boy, and I can't believe that. Like, how they fit all this on the Game Boy and did it this well shocks me. This is a phenomenal game, and for me personally, if you're getting into Zelda, haven't played a Zelda game yet, I would say this is the best place to start. Maybe the Switch remake, just because of the graphics and stuff, but as a whole, this game is insanely good, and in my opinion, underrated. Next up, I believe next up anyway, I'm not totally sure. Yeah, it has to be, yeah. So, Ocarina of Time. Now, Ocarina of Time. This game's the one that sort of got me into Zelda. I remember seeing my uncle play it when I was a little kid. I used to go around to my nana's house because both my parents were working, and my uncle still lived there at the time. He was just a young man, and I used to watch him play Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, on his N64. And obviously, as a little kid, I didn't have any of these old game consoles. I'd only had like a DS and an Xbox or something, and I loved seeing a game from the past. Ocarina of Time, the graphics, the sense of adventure. I mean, it just stuck with me. It made me love Zelda, and that's why I'm into the series today, because I just loved it as a kid. I still remember seeing my uncle beat Dark Link, and that was just such a good time. Playing it though, for the longest time when I grew up and actually started to play this game, was like, maybe my memory of this game was actually better than the game. I did find it quite boring for many years. I found it really boring, in fact. But recently, my friend my friend Regan, he gave me Link's Awakening to borrow, to play. He recently gave me Ocarina of Time 3D to play, and I'm having a great time playing it. And I do own the N64 version. I don't own the 3DS version. I've got it, borrowed it, and I'm having such a good time playing it. For many years, I thought this game was not overrated, but a bit boring. And now, I'm not really thinking that. Now I'm having a really good time playing it. And I'm going to put it in S tier. I know that's like the common opinion, that this game is the best game in the series. But yeah, this game definitely deserves that title. I can see why it would get that title. It is really fun. It's really fun. And the music's great, the sense of adventure's great, the dungeons, in my opinion, all of them that I've done so far, I haven't beat it yet, but I'm currently on the Water Temple. That's as far as I've got, that's where I am, and everything I've done in the game so far, I've just had an immense amount of fun, more than I ever have before, and I don't know if that's the 3D remake. I don't think it is, because I have played the N64 version too, on an N64, and the game feels the exact same, really, in my opinion. So, yeah, I just loved it. I'm loving playing this. Next up, we have Majora's Mask. Yeah, this is a remarkable game. I adore Majora's Mask so much. This game is in S tier, of course, and I mean, I own it on the N64, boxed. It's my only boxed N64 game. I own it on the 3DS. I have a big poster of it. I have the manga. This is just the game that I go back to the most in Zelda, and I love it so much. I know a lot of people mock it when people say, "Ooh, the dark atmosphere of Majora's Mask," and yeah, I get why people mock it, because it is kind of the point everybody makes. Sorry, just knocked my mic then. Yeah, it is the point everyone makes, but it's because it's true. This game, more than the other ones, makes you feel something. When you play this game, you feel for the people. You feel tense. You feel an anxiety. You need to go and save Termina before the world ends. You've got 3 days to do it. Yes, you could travel back in time, but when you do that, you're resetting, in a way. Of course, there's stuff that doesn't reset, but in general, you're going back in time to the first day. Things have to play out like the first day, other than all your items and the progression you've made. I've never beat it. I really want to. It's not really exactly a really hard Zelda game to beat. I don't think it's very long, because there's 4 dungeons. Most Zelda games have quite a lot more than that, or at least about double that. And this one, though, I just really do love Majora's Mask so much. I definitely prefer the N64 version. The graphics on the 3DS version, they're great, they're beautiful, but I mean, it takes away a lot of that eeriness and creepiness that I loved about the N64 version. Intentional or not, it definitely did suit the game's atmosphere. If you want a story-driven Zelda game, like one that's just got a phenomenal story, I would say Majora's Mask. Definitely give it a shot. And I doubt they're going to do Switch remakes of these, but I would really love that. I really would. Next up, we have Oracle of Seasons. This game I've only recently bought, like a few days ago, and I mean, I got it on the 3DS. I got this Oracle of Ages and Link's Awakening. I got them on the 3DS the other day, and yeah, I'm having a good time. I would probably put it in B tier for now. I haven't got far at all. I've just played just about enough of both these games so that I can rank them. I can see they're fun. They're fun games. They were a bit confusing, I can't lie. Like most Zelda games, at the start of the game, you know what to do. Other than the original two, in my opinion. But all these, the game starts and you're off. You know what to do. With this one and this one, Oracle of Ages, which I'll also put in B tier, it was like, what am I supposed to be doing? I know maybe I'm stupid, but I really I didn't know. They did confuse me a little. It was kind of weird. Yeah. They're both good games. I could tell they're both good games. I do really love the mechanics that, like, Oracle of Seasons changes season. That's really cool. Like, you'll be going in one area and it'll be summer, and then you'll go to another area and there'll be snow everywhere. It's winter. That's really cool. And Ages, yeah, I think you travel through night and day, or I can't remember. I haven't played as much of Ages, but I will definitely be playing these games a lot more now that I own them, and they are really fun. They are really fun. Next up, I believe next up anyway, would be Four Swords. Though Legend of Zelda Four Swords, I haven't played it. This is the first one from the haven't played section, but I don't know. I don't know what to think about it really. I don't think it's a bad game. I highly doubt it's a bad game, but it's quite an uncommon game to have played. So this game is, I mean, it looks good. From what I've seen, it looks quite good. The graphics look really good. It does look like it could be fun if you're playing it with friends. I'm torn though. I don't think it's going to be a B tier game. I'm not sure whether I'd put it in C or D tier though. I haven't played it, so that makes me want to put it in D tier, but then I think I probably would put it in C tier if I had played it. So I don't know. It's like a D.5. I'm going to throw it in C tier for now, because I imagine it's not awful. I just haven't played it, I can't say. Next up though, we have... I don't know if this is right, by the way. I don't know where these haven't played games fall in. At least these Four Swords ones. So if I'm breaking the release date sort of thing, then forgive me. But for now, we've got Wind Waker, and this game I have played the Wii U HD remake, which looks just looks incredible, and it plays incredible too. I really like playing the Wind Waker HD, especially with a Wii U Pro controller. Like, it just feels comfy. But this game is an S tier game. I haven't played a lot of it. It's definitely, out of all of these 3 games, this is the one I've played the least. Wind Waker was the first one to go out there and be like, right, let's do a completely different art style, cel shaded. It looks amazing. I loved games at the time that did that. I think Jet Set Radio was another one where it just looks really cool. Obviously Wind Waker, in my opinion, looks far better than Jet Set Radio, but I just mean that sort of graphic style. I'm a really big fan of it. It's just so happy and adventurous and exciting. You're like, yeah, let's go out, let's have an adventure. This is Zelda. Even though it breaks the formula, you're on the ocean this time, you're sailing, it's more like a pirate game, but it's still Zelda. It's so good. I haven't played a lot of games, so I think I've beat the first dungeon, and that's it. And I know a lot of people complain. I might have beat the second dungeon as well. I can't remember. It's been years since I've touched Wind Waker. It has been years, to the point where if I was to play it now, I'd just start a new file, because I don't know where I am. But yeah, I know a lot of people complain about the first dungeon, maybe the second one as well. I don't know what they're on about. I have a blast. I really do find this game so fun. Yeah, I mean, talking more about this, it's making me either want to spend money on the GameCube version or plug my Wii U in. Which, yeah, I definitely should plug my Wii U in again and play this game. S tier all day, every day for that game. Next up, at least I think next up, would be Four Swords Adventures. This is a GameCube game, sequel to Four Swords. I'm going to put it C tier as well. I think it's probably better than Four Swords on the Game Boy Advance just because of the GameCube controller. I think it's better graphics. Actually, I don't know if you use the GameCube controller for this game. I can't quite remember. I'm not really going to spend a lot of time talking about it though, because it's a multiplayer Zelda game. These two are multiplayer Zelda games, like co-op Zelda, and I don't know. As you can see, I've played Triforce Heroes, but it never stuck with me, this style of gameplay for Zelda. And yeah, I wish I could give them a go, but I would probably give them C tier if I did. But next up, Minish Cap. Minish Cap is, I mean, I haven't played it, but everyone who's played it says it's underrated, it's phenomenal, and I would agree based on what I've seen. I really like the idea that Link can go like puny, ant-sized almost. It's well, maybe literally. I haven't played it, but it's such a unique concept, at least for Zelda, because Zelda doesn't do that so often, really at all. The graphics are really good. It sort of takes the Wind Waker art style and puts it on the Game Boy Advance the best it can. I really am a fan of that. And I wish I had played it. I'm going to put it in B tier for now, but I imagine if I played it, I would probably put it in A tier. I'm just putting it in B tier because I haven't played it, but please, fans of Wind Waker, I acknowledge this game is supposed to be really good. I just haven't played it. Next up, another game I haven't played. We're going to be breaking out this haven't played section shortly. This one is Twilight Princess. I don't know why, I just completely forgot them for a second. Yeah, Twilight Princess. This was like the Zelda game when I first started getting into Zelda and started playing them. This was the one people knew. It's just like, if you take the last mainline game, I know they're all sort of mainline games, but the last console one was Wind Waker. This one came out on the GameCube as well. I think it's primarily a Wii game, but it had a GameCube release, kind of like Breath of the Wild having a Wii U release. And it's so tonally different. It's far more gloomy and darker, and I don't know if it's depressing, but it's more mature. It's a more mature adult Zelda game, and I wouldn't say it's as dark or scary or anxiety-inducing as Majora's Mask. That game is just full-on depressing. But this game, I would say, is definitely like mature. It's a mature Zelda game. This is for like young adults, teenagers. I am going to put this in A tier, even though I haven't played it. But a lot of people back then weren't really like calling it the greatest Zelda game of all time. But nowadays, I see a lot of people looking back at this game and being like, this game might be the best Zelda game. And that really makes me want to play it. There's a Wii U release of it, so if I was to get one, it might be that one. There's a track on this game that's in my head right now. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll put it in the background of this video if I do any editing like that. If I don't, then I'm sorry, but I do wanna. Then this track is just glorious, so beautiful and melancholic. It's perfect. I can't remember what it's called, but I love it. Now, yeah, that's all I'm going to say for that, because I haven't played it. But I really want to play it, and I hope that they do a Switch release. Now, next up we have Phantom Hourglass, which was my Zelda game when I was a kid. This was the one I played. This was the one I beat, the first Zelda game I beat. And yeah, I think I'd seen my uncle play Ocarina of Time, and I must have recognised the logo and got this when I got my DS. And wow, what a game! What a game! I really do love this game, and a lot of people underrate it. They really do. Everyone criticises this game so much, and I don't know why. I really don't, because I never found the touchscreen thing to feel a bit in your face. Everyone complains about that. Everyone's like, oh, the touchscreen thing's just a gimmick. Yes, the DS was going to force touchscreen, but I think this game does it really well. I think it's fun. Personally, I would probably say it's more fun than the way that Skyward Sword got the Wii treatment. I like the story. It's a little different. I like that the Temple of the Ocean King, I know a lot of people complain about it, but I've never really found it an issue that you have to keep returning there. It makes it feel grander than probably what it actually is. Yeah, I just like this game. I don't know what to say. I am going to put it in... where do I put it? I want to put it in A tier, because it's definitely better than those games, but I'm going to put it in A tier. I know a lot of people would be like, nah, put nothing in D tier. But no, I really do love this game. To this day, I love it. And that's where it belongs for me. Again, we'll have a look later on, but at the minute, I'm feeling A tier for Phantom Hourglass. I never played Spirit Tracks. I saw it as a kid. I really wanted it, but I never got it. This was the second DS game. Kind of... sort of a sequel. I think it's a different Link, even though it's like the same graphics and stuff. This one, instead of using a boat like you do on Phantom Hourglass, this one you're on a train. For that alone, I would probably put it next to Phantom Hourglass, just kind of like the Oracle games. I think this one could be better. I haven't played it, but it could be better, because Phantom Hourglass, as much as I love it, does kind of feel like a worse Wind Waker. Whereas this game's its own unique identity, and it's a good one. Like, people back in the day used to complain about it, say that it was the worst Zelda game. Well, except this one, but I remember when it came out and seeing videos, people really didn't like it, and held Phantom Hourglass up. But nowadays, kind of like the thing that happened with Twilight Princess, people in hindsight have changed their opinion, and they're like, no, actually, this game's really unique and cool, and we can admire it for that. It's really fun. And it changes the formula instead of this one, which kind of repeats the formula of Wind Waker, but does it worse. This one's like got its own thing going for it. And yeah, I could totally see that. I admire that. I haven't played it, but I really wanna. If it's cheap, I'll get it and I'll play it. But for now, I'm just gonna put both of these in A tier next to one another. And I do prefer Phantom Hourglass personally. From what I've seen, like, I haven't played this, but from what footage I've seen, I still prefer Phantom Hourglass. But if I played it, maybe that'd change. Next up, we have Skyward Sword. I recently got this on the Nintendo Switch, the Switch version. I've never played the Wii version, and I'm finding it quite fun, other than the analog stick thing. It's basically on the Switch version, instead of using the motion controls, you can do that, but you want. Well, I personally don't want to do that. I want to hold the Pro Controller. So, you have to use the right analog stick to swing your sword, which is just so annoying. It really is. But I am having fun playing it. Not a lot of people would put it really high. I can see why. I'm going to put it at A tier for now. And currently I'm feeling A tier for it. It's kind of like the Oracle games in a way, where it's sort of run-of-the-mill Zelda game, but this time for 3D Zelda instead of 2D Zelda. Yeah, it's very run-of-the-mill. This one's unique as well. You're in the sky instead of like on the land, so you have to fly around with these birds, and the whole setting is in the sky. It's really cool. You can go dive. Well, I don't know if it's called diving, but it's sort of like diving into other locations. And yeah, I don't know. I'm having fun with it, but I do need to play more of it. Next up, we have Link Between Worlds, another one that I only got recently, so I haven't played a lot of it, but from what I have played, I've just beat the first dungeon and got a bit past that, so yeah, I really haven't played enough. But this game's really good. It is really good, and I know a lot of people love this one to bits. A lot of people consider this the best 2D Zelda game. I can totally see that, and yeah, I really overlooked this game. Back when it came out, I did want it. I didn't have a 3DS, but I did want it. And then by the time I got a 3DS, well, I don't know what release order these came out, but Majora's Mask 3D was out by the time I got a 3DS, so I just got that instead of this game. But I wish I got both of them. This game is just, it's really fun. The art style's cool. It's sort of a remake of A Link to the Past in a way. It's like a remake whilst being a new game. It's unique. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it. And yeah, the gimmick for this game is that you can turn into these drawings, like those old caveman style drawings, and go onto walls and go into like cracks on the walls and stuff to go to new locations, things like that. And that's really interesting. To even be able to think of coming up with a gimmick like that, you could tell the Zelda team are geniuses. And for now, I am going to put this. Alright, I'm going to put it in B tier for now, but when we evaluate, yeah, it might move, you know. So we have Triforce Heroes, which, you know, this game came out, I was so hyped for it. I rarely ever get hyped for new games. Nowadays I do, quite a bit more than I used to, because I watch Directs. I never used to watch Nintendo Directs, but they really do get me hyped for games. It's like, oh, that game's coming out, yes. But back then I never did, and Super Mario Maker has been the most excited I've ever been for a game, the original Wii U one. I was so hyped for that game, and Triforce Heroes was another one. I was really hyped for this game, but unlike Mario Maker, this game was a real letdown for me. I thought it was going to be a Zelda game where I could play it with my friends, we could have fun playing it, but instead we played it like 4 or 5 times, and never looked at it again. It's not that fun. I'm gonna put it in C tier because I imagine it's probably on par with Four Swords, but playing it alone isn't fun at all. And playing it with friends can be fun, but you're never gonna have friends who want to play Triforce Heroes. I mean, it's cool. It's got a gimmick where there's clothes, like different clothes in the game that change. I think they change how like the game is played, and that's really nice. I do like that, but overall, not my favourite. It was a huge letdown for me, which is why I'm a bit sad about this game. Next up, Hyrule Warriors, which isn't a Legend of Zelda game. It's a Zelda game, like it's the Hyrule sort of thing, Link, Zelda, and all that stuff. But it's not a Legend of Zelda. It's not a mainline game. It's just a little spin-off game. And it wasn't even made by Nintendo, I don't think. I think it was just like licensed by them. It was fun for like 10 minutes. Yeah, fun for like 10 minutes. There's not much to this game, let's be honest. I mean, it's not a Zelda game, so I'm not going to go on about it for long. The graphics are really good, and when it is fun, it's really fun, like smashing and beating up and killing thousands of enemies at once. Yeah, for those parts, it's fun, and the speed of it's fun. Like, I loved running around the maps. You're really fast in this game, from what I remember. But, you know, most of the game you're just sat there mashing the A button, killing things, just mashing the A button and running around and mashing the A button some more, or maybe it's the B button, who knows. I haven't played this game in a long time. It's on the Wii U. There are new ones. There's a 3DS one, there's a Switch one, I think, so there's new Hyrule Warriors games. I just put the first one in because I wanted it to be a nice round 20 games number. But yeah, this game, it's alright. Next up we have Breath of the Wild, and yeah, this game, it's on the Switch. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves this game, like who has played it. It seems like in the community this is just a new fan favourite game. I'm not going to give any controversial opinions. This one, like, I've owned it pretty much since it came out, 2017 I think, and I've still not really played it that much. Like, it's so weird. It's so weird, because usually if I've owned a game for this long, I've played it a bit and been able to grasp it. But Breath of the Wild, I've never been able to grasp, and I haven't played it an awful lot. The world, I know, the world is immense, like, astonishingly good. The way the game is played is different to other Zelda games. It's an open world game, so, and I would say a lot of Zelda games are open world, but this one's full on open world, so you don't play it like any of these other games. It's so unique. I don't know how to describe how you play it, but it's different. It's different. Music in this game completely different as well. Every other Zelda game has this either creepiness, this edginess, this sense of, ooh, what's that? Or it's really grand in your face, or it's, let's go on an adventure, this is brilliant. But this game doesn't, at least from the soundtrack I've heard. I've not got so far, like I said. It's way more somber and not sad, but nature-esque. I don't know what to say. It's far more quiet and peaceful, and well, it's a Breath of the Wild. It's the wild. It's nature. And yeah, I didn't mean to drop it. I haven't given this game a fair shot because I haven't played it a lot, and I really should, and I will be. I promise, I will be. The reason I haven't is because I've been playing these other Zelda games at the minute, like Ocarina of Time, Phantom Hourglass, Skyward Sword, Link Between Worlds. I mean, should be playing Link to the Past as well, to be honest. Majora's Mask, all these games that I'm playing at the minute, Breath of the Wild is just at the back of the list because these other games are far more linear. They're not linear games, but they're far more linear than this one is. So I haven't really played them that much. This one that much. But I will be. I'm gonna put it in A tier. It's a great game. I acknowledge it's a great game, but you know, for me, I do prefer the style of the other Zelda games, so I've never really wanted to go back and play Breath of the Wild that much. Every time I put it on, I feel a bit demotivated, I can't lie. And I don't know why I feel this way. I really want to play it. I do. I really, really want to play this game, but I haven't really yet, so that's it. So, this is not my complete tier list. As you may know, I like to do tier lists, so whatever's furthest to the left is the one I prefer to the one on the right. So we're going to do that. We're going to reorder it as well. Some of these might drop down, some of them might drop up. And yeah, that's what we're going to do now. So, S tier, what would I prefer? Well, Majora's Mask is my favourite of them. And I imagine if I played Wind Waker might even be here. But, well, I have played it, but if I played it a lot more, it might even be here. But I haven't at the minute, so I'm going to keep it like that. And I would, as weird as it is to say, I would probably say A Link to the Past. I have had more fun playing Link to the Past than I have Ocarina of Time, even though I'm having fun playing Ocarina of Time now. And I'm not finding it boring like I used to. Link to the Past, I really enjoyed, so I am going to have to keep Link to the Past there. And these two, as I said, with Wind Waker, it might move up once I play more of it. But at the minute, this is how it's going to have to be. And yeah, so that's that. So, I've realised there's two games that we can put in D, so just to match it out. So I might do that, but we'll see how it goes. So, from A tier, do I want to move any up or down? I am going to in fact move some down. I'm going to move these two down. Because they as I look at it, they didn't feel right, them being in A tier. Next to Breath of the Wild and Twilight Princess, Link to the Past. I mean, Skyward Sword could be B tier too, but I am going to keep it in A tier. Now, what would I say I prefer? I am preferring... this might seem ridiculous to say, but I am preferring playing Skyward Sword to I did Breath of the Wild. And I do prefer playing Link to the Past to Breath of the Wild. I haven't played Twilight Princess, really, so I'm going to keep it there at the back end of it. But I imagine if I played Twilight Princess, that could be an S tier game. I don't want to move any of these up to S tier. I don't feel like they are, in my opinion. I feel like they are all A tier. Very close to S tier. Again, if I played more of all of these games, they could be S tier, but at the minute they aren't for me, so that's how they stand. Now, B tier, do I want to move any of these up? I am thinking about it, to be honest. I might move that up to there. Yeah, that's about right, I would say. So, and these, I would probably move Minish Cap to there once I played it, but at the minute I'm going to keep it here. I haven't really played it, but I'm going to acknowledge how great it is and put it in the top of B tier. I'm going to put this... I'm going to put it there. I would say that's right. Oracle games, I don't know which one I prefer. I don't really know. It doesn't really matter with the Oracle games. I do probably prefer Phantom Hourglass to those two. And yeah, that seems about right. I haven't played this, so there's no point putting it far above. This being Spirit Tracks, in case you're listening to this as audio. Next up, I would say Four Swords Adventure is probably the best out of these three. Legend of Zelda 1 is going to be the top of C tier, and I'd say the original Four Swords might even be better than Triforce Heroes. And for bottom, I do prefer Hyrule Warriors to the second Zelda game. So that seems about right. Looking at it, I'm proud of that. That is what I would call my definitive tier list at the minute. Having not played 5 of the games, but 2 of them being a multiplayer Zelda game, and yeah. So let's just go over them. So how I would rank them. So number 20, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Number 19, Hyrule Warriors. Number 18, Triforce Heroes. Number 17, Four Swords. 16, Four Swords Adventures. 15, Legend of Zelda, first game. Did I say? So 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. So 14, Spirit Tracks. 13, Oracle of Seasons. 12, Oracle of Ages. 11, Phantom Hourglass. 10, Minish Cap. 9, Twilight Princess. 8, Breath of the Wild. 7, Link to the Past. 6, Link Between Worlds. 5, Skyward Sword. 4, Wind Waker. 3, Ocarina of Time. 2, Link's Awakening. And number 1, Majora's Mask. That is how I would rank the Zelda games. That is my personal tier list. None of these games are really bad, though. I do love a lot of them. There's some that I think the ones that are in C tier and below are just like, yeah. But they're not bad. They're just sort of okay games. Whereas all of these, like B tier, they're good. And then anything above that, A tier and S tier, are just astonishing. Some of the greatest games of all time. In my opinion, I would probably put all of these S tier games in like the greatest games of all time. Yeah, this series is truly just perfect. I do love this series, and I really am looking forward to the next Zelda game, Breath of the Wild 2, even though it's not going to be called that. At least I really hope not. And yeah, so thank you for watching or listening to this video. Leave your list in the comments below, even if it's just the top 5 Zelda games, or ranking the games that you've played, even if that's just like 3 games. I still really love to read comments. You could even just put, my favourite Zelda game is this, my least favourite Zelda game is this. I will still read it. I love reading comments. So please leave in the comments below some sort of list. I want to interact with you guys on this one. And yeah, thank you for watching or listening, and stay epic.